Hello. So thank you so much for sticking with me. I know that this is probably the most difficult part of the series in terms of actually setting our goals and getting started with the plan. But today we're talking about the last step in terms of items you need to think about and data you need to collect before going ahead and creating your plan. So let's get started. We're talking about goals and self-improvement. And the reason why we're talking about goals and self-improvement is because just like goal supports, when you align your goals with self-improvement before taking additional action, it leads to greater goal success. So let me explain that for a minute. Health coaching in general, as I've talked about before, is a very holistic approach, right? So our ultimate goal is to transform our lives so that we're reaching our goals, but that it also feels very natural and very fluid. So when we talked before about items that we need to improve in our lives, if we align those areas with our goals, then as we're making improvements to ourselves, we're actually reaching towards our goals. So I'm going to make that a little more clear throughout this presentation. It's not very long, and again, like I said, this is the last step in terms of what we have to collect data-wise. Okay, so I'm sure you remember by now the IIN Circle of Life. We're still looking at those same categories that make up all of the holistic areas in our lives. And as you likely remember in the last video, we went ahead and re-rated each of those 12 areas. For this video, focus on your bottom 3 categories. So my bottom 3 categories were joy, physical activity, and social life. Again, we don't want to judge these items. We just want to look at them from a numerical standpoint. What are your bottom 3? So once you get your bottom 3, then you want to think about those bottom 3 items and how can you support your big goal by improving those 3 items. Okay, so think long and hard about those bottom 3 items. For example, I've been using a weight loss example throughout this, so I'll go ahead and use it here. If physical activity is one of your bottom 3 and your big goal is to lose weight or to transform your body, then obviously by increasing your physical activity, that's going to help you to reach your goal. That's probably one of the easiest translations in this, but sometimes if you think about, like for example, joy is one of my bottom 3. When I think about joy and trying to increase joy, and I think about my larger goal of transforming my business, then I have to think about what in my business ignites my passions, right? And then what in my passions could help me to increase my joy. So that's how I've had to sort of think about it, and it really is very individualized. Again, if you're having a hard time aligning how your self-improvement would relate to your goal, go ahead and put it in the comments section, ask any questions, because this is very important. Because what we will see happen is that as you're doing activities that help with your self-improvement, you're also moving towards your goal. And so you'll start to see that there's a synergy that's created in your life that allows you to move effortlessly towards your goal. Okay, so for this exercise, what you need to write down is which of your bottom 3 are you willing to work on? And be very realistic with this, right? Because one of the things that's going to help us get to where we're trying to go is to be honest with ourselves and make clear commitments to ourselves. So you may say, I want to improve all 3 of my bottom 3. Or you may say, I'm only going to work on one of my bottom 3. But pick at least one and be honest with yourself, okay? You don't want to overwhelm yourself, because if you do that, it's not likely that you're going to actually do your activities and do your task, which means you won't be moving closer towards your goal. Now, if you're being very ambitious and you want your transformation to happen more aggressively, then pick all 3 of those and promise yourself that you're going to work on them, okay? So once you've decided how many of your bottom 3 you're willing to work on, then you need to decide what activities or tasks will you do on a weekly basis to improve the category or categories from your bottom 3. So again, taking the example of physical activity, it could just be I am going to work out 3 times a week for at least an hour, right? Whatever activities or tasks you're going to do to improve the category or categories from your bottom 3, go ahead and write those down. And then determine how long will each of those activities take in hours, okay? So in the example that I just said, that would be 3 hours in activities to help to support your bottom 3. And then after you have all your activities and tasks written down and you have all of your hours written down, you're going to determine the total hours a week spent on self-improvements. So this is your weekly self-improvement number. As you may recall, we had a goal supports number. Now this is going to be your self-improvements number. And at the end of the day, we don't want to exceed our initial number, which was how many hours we were committing to reaching our goals, okay? So just focus on getting your total self-improvement hours per week from this exercise, and then I will do in the next video just all of the items that you've written down so that you have a reminder. In case you haven't been writing it down as we go, I'll go back over everything that you should have written down, and then we will start talking about putting this all together in a plan. It's been at least a month that we've been thinking about our goals and thinking about what we want to do. It's almost like a ramp-up time, and now it's time to actually put pen to paper, have a plan, and execute that plan. But the more holistic that plan is, the more that it resonates with our spirits, that we're increasing things in our lives that are of importance to us, as well as we're reaching towards a goal, the more that we can make all of that seamless, the more likely that we're going to get to where we're trying to go, okay? So again, if any of this is not making sense in detail for you, or you're having trouble figuring out how to integrate it into your life, please put it in the comments below. I will definitely answer back. But again, this is talking about a holistic view of your life and how you can change that to lead to success by reaching your big, big goal. So, like I said, next we'll go over and review everything that you should have written down just in terms of numbers that we've talked about over the last few weeks. And then we'll create our plan so that we can really start the work. And we're starting the work prior to the new year. So by the time we're going into 2020, we'll have reached one of our big milestones. So I hope this is clear. As always, if you have questions, if you need clarity on anything, go ahead and put it in the comments. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks.